Hey guys! We were recently invited to visit Bramwell, West Virginia. In today's episode, we talk about the 10 things that surprise us most about West Virginia's Millionaire town. Known for historic millionaire houses and ATV tourism through the Hatfield-McCoy trails, this charming small town was full of surprises and excitement. We hope you enjoy this episode and you are inspired to go down and visit Bramwell in Mercer County, West Virginia.
And the way the Bluestone River made that horseshoe shape around the town just added to the magic. Everything was kind of encapsulated in the river. And then within the river, you have these beautiful millionaire homes. We're walking through the town. How are you feeling at the time?
I just think of like peaceful, like everything is quiet. You can hear birds and you're just walking around. You feel safe. There's so much to look at. Obviously, the houses are beautiful. They are kept up very nicely. They have beautiful landscaping. And then, like, on the edge where that pretty garden was with like the gazebo, you know what I'm talking about? That was really nice. I'm like, I could just sit here. I wish I could just sit here and spend a day.
It was surreal, wasn't it? It almost, to me, almost felt like you were walking into a dream. Like you had taken a nice summer nap on a hillside and you fell asleep and you're kind of strolling through this place. Is it even real? Is this place real or not?
It's I still don't know.
Well, that's what we wanted to know. We had talked about Bramwell, or is it Bramwell?
I don't know. We'll see.
We had talked about it way back on episode 3, and we were talking about the history of Bramwell. And then we were invited to go down and find out for ourselves, and we did. We just got back from the trip, and today we've got 10 surprises for you. 10 surprises that we got from West Virginia's Millionaire town, the town of Millionaires, as it is known.
Yes.
And how we knew it. I just first discovered the story just a few years ago, even though I lived in West Virginia my whole life. Just recently discovered the story a couple years ago. Told you about it on our episode 3, way back early January when we started the podcast.
Yeah.
And we talked about the history of this town and how it had all these millionaires living in the same town together. Millionaires, they got rich from the coal industry that was huge down there. And they built this town, this beautiful town. And it seemed unreal, didn't it? So we were invited to come down and see it for ourselves. We did. We just got back, and it still feels unreal. It still feels like a dream.
Yeah.
And we learned so many things, 10 shocking things, I think, surprising things.
Surprising.
And we're going to list them. We're going to go down the list right now.
Yeah.
But the number one surprising.
Well, hold on. I don't think we can go any further in this video without thanking Leisha.
Absolutely.
Because without Leisha, none of this would have been possible. Like, who knows when we would have actually gone down and got to have the experiences that we did. So we just want to thank Leisha.
Yes, absolutely.
And give her a big shout out. She's the best.
Oh, she was amazing.
She didn't claim to be a tour guide or anything, but she was a tour guide.
And we'll talk about some of the things that she did for us even more as we go on.
Okay.
Through the list.
Yes.
We'll be talking about different things that I came across. But the number one most surprising thing I thought was the town felt like you were on a movie set. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah. I'm thinking right now as I'm picturing it, Desperate Housewives.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The show, not like the drama.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Desperate Housewives. They live in like that kind of area. All the houses are nice. Everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Let's describe the town so if someone's never been there, they can really get the idea of what it's like. Describe what the town looks like.
Okay, so it's very small. A population of, what did they say, 250?
Under 400, yeah.
Under 400. Just so historic and just small. And Main Street was just a very small street. And just one side had a few shops in it. So they had, like, I think an antique store, like a secondhand store maybe. And then a Mexican restaurant. The corner shop at the very end, of course, and then the Honeycomb. And there might be one more thing there.
Cafe, yeah.
The Honeycomb Cafe, which I have a cute little reel on our Facebook page about that. And then after that, it's just like the horseshoe shape of millionaire houses.
Yeah.
And then some up on the hill right there.
Yeah. Kind of overlooking.
Yeah, they have a depot on the other end, like the millionaire houses, Main Street, and the depot.
Yeah.
And then
Town Hall.
Yeah, Town Hall.
The school, an old historic school just down the road, and that's kind of it.
That is kind of it.
So if you're coming in from the western part, that's what you would pass this Town Hall. Immediately to your right, you would see the depot, a beautiful, beautiful reconstructed depot that was set to look like what the depot would have looked like in the heyday.
They have the old train cars that you can look in and kind of see remains of it.
Then Main Street is kind of commercialized, but we're talking 4 or 5 shops. So when I say commercialized,
yeah.
And then community. the Millionaire houses that are tucked away, surrounded by the horseshoe, Bluestone River, but horseshoe shaped around the town.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's Bramwell. Oh, and the ATV trails. There's a couple
that's a
ATV trails
huge
on the end.
thing because that's the Hatfield-McCoy
The
trails.
Hatfield-McCoy trails.
And then, of course, going into Virginia, there's the Pocahontas Spearhead trails, which we
Yes.
did some of that too.
Yeah.
But where we
ATVs.
stayed was above the corner shop and the Honeycomb Cafe, and it was just a couple condos. One was called Street Fair and one was called Millionaire Row.
That's right.
And we stayed on the Millionaire Row one.
Yes. Very nice condo. Yeah, so the whole town almost felt like a movie set, especially the way it's laid out and constructed feels like it was designed for a movie, right? That's how I would describe it. And then just seeing the houses, we've got the book here that has the beautiful houses, so you can kind of see this first one here. But you've got these really historic houses. But, you know, I want to describe this correctly, okay? If you're from West Virginia, you probably have seen areas like we have where you can see there was a lot of action here at one time. An old Main Street or something, like Gormania, where we're from, Gormania, Grant County. You can say, oh, these were probably decently extravagant buildings at one point back when things were in the heyday.
Yeah.
And this was a bustling place. Now those places are usually dilapidated and, you know, falling apart. That's what was unique here. These houses are old. They're very old, but they're totally restored. They're totally restored and kept up. So it looks like I know that when we talked to the lady who is the historian of the town, Betty Goins, she may not like the term time capsule necessarily, and we'll get into that because the town is very modernized too. We'll get into that. So I mean this as a compliment. Yeah. But it is almost like a time capsule. The houses look like they're in that when they would have looked like in the heyday. And that is pretty amazing. And when we say millionaire houses, people are probably thinking, oh, I have a millionaire community in my town. No. Morgantown, we have, you know, Cheat Lake. It has millionaire houses. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about because we're talking about, those are millionaire houses in the 2020s. We're talking about millionaire houses from the 1920s. So, you know, factor in inflation. You can almost call these billionaire houses, you know, at this point. These are on a different level. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your nice community, your nice HOA down the street. I'm talking about millionaire houses from the 20s, completely restored, look amazing, look like you're in a time capsule, and just almost looks not real in a good way. Yeah. It's surreal. It's I'm in a movie, and then I walk down Main Street, and it's like maybe like Gilmore Girls or something. Yes, that is you got these cute little shops, and cafe and everything, and then you feel like everybody kind of knows everybody. Because it's a small town, everybody knows your name. Cheers. Yeah. And Betty told us that one too. That it feels like Cheers, like everybody knows your name. Point number two, shocking point number two. One time, Bramwell had the most millionaires per capita in the entire United States, not just West Virginia, the entire United States, because there was so many millionaires packed densely in a small town. Their high school mascot was called the Millionaires. The team. How would you like playing that team if you were playing high school football and you had to go travel and we're about to go play the Millionaires. I have a feeling they tipped off the refs, you know, paid them off a little bit, scoring extra goals. Pretty nerve-wracking. But yeah, you know, because of all the wealth down there, of course, they're sitting right on the Pocahontas coal seam. And so the coal operators moved in, made a killing off of it. They had the train right there that were able to haul this coal out. They were bringing in Chanel No. 5 from New York City on the train, I read. I read there was only 2 places in the United States at the time selling Chanel No. 5. New York City and Bramwell, West Virginia. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So just so much historic wealth there. And that's one thing. But to think that there was that dense, that it was the most dense population of millionaires in the whole nation. Yeah. Right here in Little Mercer County, West Virginia. That's pretty crazy. That's number 2. So that sets the background for you. That is where these houses were originally constructed. And these houses, we got to talk about the houses a little bit. My favorite one was the Cooper house. Yeah, you love that one. I love the Cooper house. It's the one on the cover right here. And it had copper roof. One of the first, I believe, in the nation. And because of its age, it has turned green. Yeah, but it's very pretty. Yeah, but people think that it's like painted green. Like people have asked, what like, what did you do to make it green? It's the copper turned green. And even it's a beautiful green. The fencing around it, I'm guessing, was copper, or they've painted it this color because it's the exact color as that. Yeah, the lady did say that they've matched the color of the roof when they
to their
painted different things.
interior. Yeah.
So that color is like a natural color of copper.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful. I've loved the copper roof.
And we got to briefly talk to the 5th generation owner of the home, the only home in the whole town that has been directly passed down to family members.
Yeah.
So I believe the woman who's living in it now, her great-great-grandfather was John Cooper. I believe that's what she said.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure that's what she said. And she was living there, and she was there working outside and just talking about getting in the pool, which what is special about the pool?
The pool was one of the first indoor pools we read when we did the episode number 3 podcast. One of the first indoor pools in the nation.
She said she was talking to a neighbor, and she said, well, I hope you can swim because it's really deep. So I don't know how deep.
Yeah. It's not like your typical pool, I wouldn't imagine. One of the first.
Yeah.
But it was a really hot day. So she was inviting the neighbors to get in the pool.
Yeah. And along with it was a honeymoon suite, which seems like a small house, but it's the size of just like a regular house.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was your favorite one.
That was my favorite. There was another house there that was, that was the world-renowned piano player, correct?
IT Man.
Yeah, IT Man was the original. I'm talking about modern.
Yes.
Is a Juilliard.
Yes,
piano
has
player.
played all over the world. He's
But you're right. It was the IT Man house, and they've named a town even down there, Itman, after IT Man.
Yeah,
that one was extravagant too, and had the extravagant garden. But on the topic of, you said the honeymoon house, so there was a bridge that crosses the Bluestone River, and across the bridge was another house, a playhouse for his kids. He had built for his kids,
or a mansion, a playhouse mansion.
Exactly. Yeah, a playhouse he had built for his kids to say, you all run across the river there, cross the bridge, and go play in your playhouse, which was a house way bigger than our house.
It would need its own staff. I'm assuming these people had staff.
Yeah.
It would need its own staff to take care of that house. Their playhouse.
Huge playhouse that is now just a separate house that somebody else owns because it's essentially another Millionaire house. And then there was the Thomas house on the hill. Amazing Thomas house. That's another one we got to tour the inside of. Yeah. And just seeing all the cool features. There was just things that were so impressive, little details. Yeah. I don't know if you even noticed, it had like a notch cut out, like on the patio, like a drain notch. That was something you don't really see anymore. Just little things like that would have been state of the art at the time.
And like when you think there's no more house, it's like, oh, there's another floor. Oh, this has a whole expansion on it. Just kept going and going.
Yep. And then the Collins house, the first house we got to tour. And it was really beautiful.
Yeah. And everyone was so nice, like letting us come. Like they have tours throughout the year. They have a winter one, and then they have one that just happened a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But for this, thanks to Alicia, she was able to have a few people open up their homes to us, and everyone was so nice.
Absolutely.
So I was very appreciative to the whole town. Everyone we met. The shops we went into, the people we interacted with. Yeah. Very sweet people.
Super nice. And they all enjoyed showing the house. They had a lot of pride in it. And it's different though. It's not like someone, like I said, that's at Greystone here in Morgantown, building a nice house and taking pride in it. This is different. They took pride in the historic part. To them, the fact that it was historic and they get to take care of it, to be the caretaker of this house. These houses all have names, basically named after the first owner. Yeah. And these people move in. It's not like they changed the name to their name. It's this house. And they know that. They respect that. And they almost shepherd the house. They take care of the house. They keep it historic. And you have to have that sense, basically, that sense of protection to even want to move into one of those houses there. Which leads us to point number 3. Everything is well preserved. That was something I was surprised about. I don't want to say that I expected to see a lot of dilapidated things. Yeah. But I didn't expect that level of preservation. Yeah. I was amazed. That blew me away. I was like, these were nice houses back in the day. Yeah. These are nice houses right now. And you would almost think, okay, they were nice back then and somebody moved in and they've modernized them. But that's not the case.
They're not really allowed to modernize.
It's hard to describe. They do have modern features. They had televisions and things like that. Modern plumbing and things that were worked out, but the visuals of the house was historic. It's hard to explain without seeing it.
It's like original ceiling moldings, original stained glass, Just stuff like that.
And if something was replaced, like if a glass broke out, they replaced it with a stained glass window that would have been fitting for the time as well.
Yes.
So everything that was replaced was basically replaced with something
Mm-hmm.
that would have been of the time.
Yeah. And that would be hard. Like if
Yeah.
someone just came by and broke your window, you would be like, oh my gosh, I can't just put anything up there.
Yeah.
Like I need, yeah, like you were saying, like the pride of the owners now, like wanting to keep it as it was.
Mhm.
Like that takes a lot of time, like a lot of money, a lot of upkeep. You just really have to really love the history behind it. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to move into this house and whatever. No, you have to actually love the history before you even think to move in the house, I would assume.
Yeah. Plus the fact that these houses are an attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people, random people coming, up your street, stopping in front of your house, taking pictures of your house. So you have to, they know that when we talked to the owners there, they knew that, and you have to be okay with that. Like there was basically an agreement to move into the neighborhood. Like, we're going to take care of this house. We're going to love this house, but we know other people are going to love it too from the outside.
Yeah.
Tourists are going to come by, and a lot of them were excited. They were happy about that. They're like, sure, take pictures of it and let me tell you about it. And it's almost a sense you had to have, where if you just truly valued your privacy so much, you're like, I never want to see anybody, you wouldn't move into these houses.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that
reminds me of like our conversation with Mandy, the manager of the corner shop, which I'm going to assume is the spiciest little lady in that entire town. She was adorable, and I loved her. She was so cute. Yes, you did,
absolutely.
But she was talking about, she owns the Blue Lady, which we'll have to insert a picture here, but it's another one of the iconic, like whenever I was just like Googling these homes, like hers was one of the ones that kept coming up over and over.
They call it the Goodwill House, and the nickname is the Blue Lady.
Yeah, she called it the Blue Lady. And so that's where she lives with her children. Many children. But she was just saying, if you don't want people looking at your house and taking pictures of your house, well, then you can't live here, like so sassy. But yeah, she was like, you have to understand, people want to come here to tour your house, and they offer, like, they will go around when it's time for touring and say, do you want us to put your house on the list? And you can say yes or no, that's your right, because it is your home and your privacy. But if you don't want people coming around taking pictures of your house and sitting out there and staring at it from the street, you can't live here.
We had a chance to talk with Betty Goins, and she is basically the town historian.
Like a wealth of knowledge, if you want to know anything.
She wrote this book. She is the historical interpreter, it says here. And she knows everything about it. But that was one of the questions I had for her. I said, Betty, this is amazing to me, because this isn't an organization. This isn't something you can just enforce like an HOA rule. This is individual owners of these houses, but yet they all have kind of come together with the same mission, the same goal. They have a vision for the town that they all share. I said, that has to be incredibly difficult when you're dealing with individual people that have their own individual goals and desires, to bring everybody on the same page, that we all, I'm sure that there's disagreements, but all in all, the vision is kind of the same and has created this almost magical town. That's amazing to me. I can't believe that you could get all these individuals on the same page anywhere, in any organization that I've ever worked. And trying to get everybody to buy into the same vision is very difficult. And this town has nailed it, and is actually a blueprint for other towns, I think, to follow on how to mix the old and the new. And we'll get there. I'm jumping ahead, but I just wanted to say, just wanted to hit that point again, that these are individually owned houses, yet they have a sense of community. Number 4 surprising thing was the coal heritage was huge. And I guess that shouldn't have been so surprising, knowing that the town is basically founded on the coal wealth. But coal heritage is still very huge. So, historically, I think the coal kind of started to die down a little bit in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and took a big hit. The industry is obviously nowhere near it was in its heyday, has declined a lot. But the people still there still have a very sense of reverence for the coal industry. They understand that the town was founded on that. Everything that they have was founded on that. They know this wouldn't even exist if not for the coal. And even the communities, nearby communities like Coopers and Pocahontas, Virginia. We went across the state line and visited Pocahontas, Virginia. Very much evident that coal ran this place. There's still a company store there standing. In Pocahontas, there is a exhibition coal mine that we didn't get to do, but when we go back one day, I'd like to go visit that as well.
Yeah, it looked really interesting.
And you could just see where coal was king, and the people there, when you talk to them, they still have a lot of reverence for it. And Betty, absolutely, her father was a coal worker, and it's a huge deal.
Yeah, she said something interesting. It was like there were two kinds of family. There were like coal families, or there were like the millionaire families or something. She's like, I'm from the coal family, and she loved that and was had so much pride in that.
And she said that the coal family, like the working class families and the millionaire families, got along really well.
Yeah, because
a lot of times, I guess media would try to portray them as enemies of one another, like class warfare.
But they weren't.
But she, according to her research and what she knew personally, they had got along really well with one another.
Yeah,
and they all lived in the same communities.
The millionaires had at some point worked in coal, so they understood what the workers, now that they're millionaires sitting on their porches, they understood how hard it was for the coal miners coming home.
Yeah.
And they made sure that they treated them well.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so we interviewed Betty, and that's going to be another episode coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Once we get that all edited down. And I highly recommend you stop by and watch that one, because she gives you the history much better than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I know we're butchering a lot of stuff. She's going to get it exactly right. So you need to watch that interview.
Yes. And she has this book as well, The Comprehensive History of Bramwell. So this would just have everything that she would want you to know.
But, and she didn't just talk about Bramwell and coal. She inspired me in our conversation. I was fired up whenever I was done with the conversation. She just has you fired up just to be like community minded. You just want to go out there and like, I'm going to restore my community. I'm gonna get my community together and build something awesome. Yeah. And she has you feeling like you can walk through a brick wall. Yeah. She's like, go find out how, like Petersburg example, find out how Petersburg became Petersburg. Like, who was it named after? Who started it? Get down to the exact like root, the point of it, like point A of the town. Yeah. So you can tell a lot of what happened here was her doing. Just an amazing lady who had a vision and executed it, brought people together with this vision, and she's been killing it. And if she doesn't inspire you to get out and involved in your community, nothing would. So you got to watch that one. Definitely watch that episode. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in the book, so she wrote that book, but she also helped write this one, the Bramwell Golden Years book. We have extra copies that we got when we were down there retailing for $25. And we're going to give them out. 3 of them. We're going to give them out right now, actually. Right now. Okay. If you're watching. Here's what we're going to do. The first 3 people, what do you think? The first 3 people to do what? Like the video, share the video, it's easy. Comment, and tag 5 people. 5 people? In a comment. In a comment. 5 people that if you all lived in this community, that you'd want to live with. In other houses, I mean, not in one house. Like you had one millionaire house, they had the next one, and that was your community. Who do you want to live in a community with in millionaire houses? Yes. Tag 5 of them. Share this episode, like this episode, and you got to be subscribed. Come on. Yeah, you have to subscribe, and we will send you your own copy. There 3 you go. People. The photos are beautiful. The photos for yourself. Yeah. You'll get to see the Blue Lady in here, the Thompson house, the Cooper house, all of them. And by the way, we are going to do a travel vlog episode on this because we had such an amazing time and we documented lots of it, and we're going to obviously have multiple videos come out of it. So, we had been doing a separate channel, a travel channel, but what we've decided, I'm excited for this. We're going to wrap it all together. We're going to bring the travel stuff right here in one channel. One we already only had one Facebook account, but we're going to make it a little easier. One YouTube account, one account for everything, just to make all our videos easier. So you'll have the podcast and the travel vlogs right here conveniently in one spot. Yeah, because why have it in 2 different spots? You got to go here, you got to go there to find the other thing. Right, exactly. Bringing it all together. So we're excited for that. That's going to be exciting. It's going to make it a lot easier to find. And you can hear us talk about it in the podcast, but if you want to see it for yourself, it's a good way to see a sneak peek into what the town looks like, the magic of the town. Point number 5. Their mayor is probably cooler than your mayor. Oh, shots fired. And that's a fact. Who is the mayor? Grant Bennett is the current mayor as of 2025 of Bramwell, West Virginia. We're going to get into this a little bit more, but Grant says Bramwell. Betty says Bramwell. Who is right? I don't know. Yes. But anyway, what makes Grant so cool? He took us ATV riding. I got to drive the mayor around. You got to drive the mayor around in an ATV. That's right. He was wearing
army pants. He's a veteran.
Yeah.
He and his brother both took us ATV run. Marshall. And they're both veterans, both cool, just cool guys.
Yeah, and him and his wife own the Honeycomb Cafe right there in town.
And she was super sweet.
And, you know, we're outsiders, so we don't know what's going on. But I believe they had an election recently, and he just won re-election. So he would have been serving 2 years. Now he's got 2 more years. So he won re-election. So they must have really enjoyed him as mayor.
Yeah, I know I would have.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Which leads us right into number 6. The ATV scene is huge.
Yeah.
The Hatfield-McCoy trails. I did not know how huge this was until we went down there. I had heard in southern West Virginia these trails were big. So the mayor, Grant, he offered to take us out to see the trails. And so he got his gang together. Him and his brother, Marshall, Larry, a.k.a. Moose. Larry's best friend from Florida, Chuck, and then us.
Yeah.
And we went out. So we had 4 machines.
Yep.
I rode with Marshall primarily. You rode with Grant primarily. And
Chuck and Larry Moose were just there for like entertainment. Pure entertainment.
They were so fun, weren't they? They were so much fun.
They were funny.
And I can really relate to, because I'm in church group with my men. And when you get close with guys, you get like kind of sarcastic and picking on each other. That's when you know you're legit friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody who you don't know very well. I don't know how ladies work, but for men, like a guy, I'm going to be cordial and like, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. If I barely know you. But your best friends, you're like, hey, doofus, what are you doing? You know, something like that. I have those guys at church that if they came up and said something nice to me, I would be like,
we're friends. Why are you
suspicious?
Why are you,
you know, if I did something big and they came up and was like, hey, you did a great job. I'd be like, now if they came up to you and you're like, hey, buddy, that sucked. Then you're like, you liked it. I know you liked it. Yeah. You're like, I did good. Thanks. Yeah. So that was kind of the relationship there. Yeah. And that's fun to see that these guys were that tight knit and they had fun. That made it fun for us. So yeah, we got to drive around and see a lot of the trails. Did the trails surprise you? Or was it about what you were expecting?
What I expected.
Really?
I didn't.
But you go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't think that. I thought it was going to be more. I don't know. So he said that there are many trails, like 700 miles worth of trails. But then there's like a green trail, easy. Blue trail is like medium. And then there's black. And then he said double black. And Grant, if you're watching, I don't know if we did a double black one. But when we were going straight up that mountain, that rock, straight up rock hill, that might have been double black. I don't know, Grant, if you're watching, tell us. But we did a lot of black.
Probably should be.
And I was driving on some of that black.
Yeah. Yeah. The trails, you said 700 miles. They're all over southern West Virginia and even into Kentucky and Virginia. And we were in Virginia a little bit on the trails too. Yeah. I think
Spearhead.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird because Pocahontas, Virginia is the next town over in Virginia. And I think on the West Virginia side, it was Pocahontas trails, but then it was Spearhead trails on the Virginia side, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm probably butchering it.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway. So here's what's cool. We didn't even mention this when we were describing the town, and we should have. So many of the people visiting the town are on ATVs. They're ATV riders. So they come in on the ATVs. Yeah. Main Street is blocked off from ATVs. There's signed no ATVs on Main Street. So the ATVs can't drive like the Millionaire town loop. They can't come on the commercial street. Yeah. But
which is nice.
On the back side of the commercial Main Street and on the end of the building of the row of stores, there is ATV parking. So they were filled with ATVs when we were there, both lots. Yeah. And then the people come off the ATVs, they come into the stores, shop, they come in to eat. And that's pretty awesome. That was the other thing that made the town feel magical. So you have these millionaire houses on one side, you have your commercial district, shops, and then these ATVers coming in off these 700 miles of trails, coming in for a bite to eat or whatever, or to stay the night in the condos. Yeah. And that's pretty neat to see that. So it's a huge industry, the whole ATV thing. I did not expect the trails to be like that. I thought they were going to be more boring. No, I did, because I thought when I had heard that they had these ATV trails.
These are famous trails.
I thought it was like commercialized, like easy trails, like come down here, like almost like a gravel road. Oh, that's what I imagined. Like it's going to be kind of flat, kind of scenic. These are like real ATV trails. So no, I'm saying they were much better than what I thought. Yeah. Like, oh, these are legit. Like there was dirt bikes there when we were there. There was like a mud pit that somebody kept driving through and splashing water up. Yeah. Like another ATV. They were having a blast. You could tell they were doing circles in this mud pit. Yeah. Dirt bikes were going around. and then there was us, and some of those trails were legit. The one we
Mhm.
climbed was a rock
It was all
wall,
rock.
essentially.
I don't know how we did it.
And
I was scared.
at one point, we were over top of a tunnel. There was a tunnel under us, a train track tunnel, and you could see the train down there,
Mhm.
barely, because the trees were so built up because of summertime.
Yeah.
But you could see through the trees. You could see the train like sticking out of the tunnel, like parked,
Mhm.
and like we're standing on top of it. This trail goes over top of the
Yeah.
train trail. Then we went on the Virginia side, and they had the cicadas were still out.
Mhm.
I think you guys, at the time you were with Marshall, and I think you guys might have hit the hornet's nest
Yes.
and stirred them up, or at least drove by them.
Well, we apparently drove over a big black snake
Well,
and a hornet's
well, hold
nest.
on.
Okay, go ahead.
And then the other two ATVs went, and then Grant and I were at the end. We were the fourth machine to go by, so we drove over it, and I saw him kind of fidgeting around at his back, and I thought, oh, I must be scaring him. He's getting his seatbelt on. But he's like, I think there's something in here.
Mhm.
The hornets had stirred up and got into the machine, and they got him.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's really sad. They didn't get me somehow. I think only one of them got in somehow. It kind of blew in the window or whatever.
I did
And then
not
it was
see it
ticked.
at all.
But other than that, I think, was it a turtle?
A turtle that I almost hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was recording me at that time, and I was just trying not to kill the mayor.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't care about the turtle.
And a black and you, I think you guys drove over a black.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this.
According to Moose, he said you guys he said it lived, but you drove over it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
So hopefully it lived.
Mhm.
But and then the cicadas, and they were buzzing when we were out there. It sounded like house alarms going
Yeah,
off.
you could really hear it good. We saw some up close.
And the view when we got to the end
with the train.
I don't know not the end of the trail. No, the Virginia side view where the cicadas were.
Mm-hmm.
The view off into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing.
Well, at one point we were over top of the train, and then we heard it start up.
Yeah.
And then at one point we were under, and the train was going above us. Did you notice that?
No.
And it was going. You didn't see that?
I missed that.
We were on the main road, and the train was driving above us.
Oh, when we were on the main road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then there was coke ovens. We saw multiple coke ovens.
That was really
throughout
cool.
the trail and along the main road where they used to be in action.
Yeah, we got up close footage of the coke ovens.
Yeah, we'll show that on the travel vlog. So you'll have to check out.
Yeah. It's going to be a really fun vlog because we tried to get everything, because everything's content.
Everything is content. So the ATVs is really bringing in people for the tourism, and so is the historic district. This is what the town did very well. This is what I think made the town magic. This is what makes the town a blueprint for other parts of West Virginia. They have found the perfect formula, the perfect balance of historic and modern. You've got these houses that were historic and preserved. Then you've got more modern side like ATVs and condos to stay in and nice dining. In other words, they didn't just say, no. This town is the millionaire town. We're not going to have ATVs coming in and ruining things. We don't want anything new to ruin it. That's not what they did.
Yeah.
They found a way to mix the new, to welcome new ideas, fresh ideas. And even Grant, he's young. I told him that, and he said, well, younger.
He kept calling us kids, and I'm like, we're probably like 5 years younger than you.
And he wasn't even from there. He had moved from North Carolina, I believe. Was it North Carolina?
I think so.
You know, and they elected him mayor. So my point is, they are open-minded to new ideas and new things, fresh blood, and fresh ideas, but also respect the coal heritage, respect the historic aspects of the millionaire houses. So they found a way to do both. And I had said before we even went down there, when I was answering another comment on a previous video, that I thought the way forward in the future for a lot of these towns was to find a way to honor the past, but also to welcome in new ideas.
Yeah.
Fresh blood. That sounds like a vampire movie.
No, that's okay.
Anyway.
But the ATV thing, not going down Main Street, was where the start of those houses are, like right where the bank starts. That's the only original brick road, and they want to try to preserve the last brick road. They call that
cobblestone?
I don't know. I think so. But it's the only road left.
Right.
So they're trying to preserve it as best as they can.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable.
And also the noise and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it was very peaceful Monday morning when we woke up. We walked down Main Street at 8 o'clock and never saw a person until the mayor met us in his cafe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, they've got the right balance. They figured out the mix. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And that was intentional. That wasn't an accident. It didn't just accidentally occur. It was something that they intentionally said, this is a great idea. This will get people to come in. but also we'll take small steps,
Mm-hmm.
such as, enforcing the historical accuracy and not allowing the ATVs on the cobblestone, things like that. So it honors the past, but also respects the future. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people who live in the town are not from there. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
these houses have been sold a few times, so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them are third, fourth, fifth owners
Yep.
of the houses. And it was just people who came there but had similar goals.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier. People who were passionate about keeping up with the
And they
historicalness of the
like the
house.
slower living,
Yeah,
the slowed down life that people really want right now.
yeah. So they really found that formula. If nothing else, I encourage people to watch the interview with Betty and see how
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can bring some of those ideas to your town,
Yeah.
because a lot of towns in West Virginia aren't doing as well. And Bramwell seemed to figure out a good mix. And our next point, and they're still building for the future. Who else did we meet while we were down there?
Dennis Marcello.
Dennis Marcello.
He has a lot of ideas for that town.
Absolutely. So he took the Bluestone School, which was a historically black school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on the Bluestone River, and it's kind of there on the edge of town. And what's he doing with it?
He's just restoring it. And what does he want it to be? I think
a hotel /
yes.
restaurant.
Yes.
14 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be very nice. It's going to have an elevator. So you have I think it was 7 rooms up top, 7 rooms down below, and a restaurant kind of in the middle.
Handicap accessible, World War II themed hotel.
Yes. So very respectful to veterans, and they'd be able to come in easily. And it overlooks the Bluestone River. So you have a beautiful view. When it's all said and done, you're going to be able to eat, look out the river, look out from your room, and see this beautiful river flowing by. And still the proximity to town. It's just right there
it's
to
so
town.
close.
And the ATV trails.
Yeah.
So you can do it all.
Oh yeah, it's like literally the perfect thing for you to do if you're there for ATVing.
And so not only was he doing that, but he was also working on what I believe was the Bramwell High School. I'll say Bramwell High School for him, because he was very adamant about it being Bramwell.
Says it is Bramwell. He went down to the source, the family.
But he had restored a portion of that school to film a movie called The Game, a movie that's not yet released.
But it sounds cool.
And he's trying to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say all this.
I don't know. I wouldn't say any more. Don't say any more.
I just want to say he wants to show the movie in the town.
Okay.
He's trying to negotiate a deal to do that. I think that's okay to say.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. So The Game. So we're going to watch out for that. Pay attention to that. A movie called The Game, filmed in Bramwell, West Virginia. Yeah. Dennis was fun. I wish we could have spent more time with him. He was at the end of our trip. And but hey, maybe some other time we'll get to go down and visit him.
Yeah.
And spend some more time.
See, where I told him, I was like, it's cool to go through that building. He took us through.
Yeah.
Which school was it?
It was the Bluestone High School.
Yes.
Or the Bluestone School that was the predominantly black
that he wants
school,
to be the
historic black school.
The World War II themed hotel.
And then right beside it was a historic black church.
Okay.
And he got it with
but it was
not at the same time. He had to buy that kind of separately.
It was cool to go in and see like the original, like what it is, and then come back, like he said, maybe 2 years when it's done, and see what.
Because right now it's very early, very early, and so we got to see like the bare bones basically, and then to see it when it's done, I'm excited. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Surprising fact number 9, maybe not that surprising. It seemed like everybody knew everybody.
Oh my gosh!
So we're in there with Mandy. She says, "Oh, did you see the Thomas house?" And of course she knows everybody.
Who lives in the Blue Lady, the Goodwill house.
Yeah, and then have you talked to the mayor yet? It seemed like everybody knew everybody. It's one of those towns, and not only know everybody, because when we say that about Petersburg, like everybody knows everybody because it's a small town. It's like everybody interacts with everybody. That brings me back to like when I said it's almost like a movie set, because it's almost like a TV show. You know how you turn on a TV show. Andy Griffin, for example, what she said the town was like Mayberry, and remind her of Andy Griffin. But you turn on an episode of Andy Griffin and you see the same characters every episode. That's what it almost felt like the same set of people every day, kind of interacting with each other, which could be awkward if you didn't agree with people. Because Mandy said she was very hardcore when it comes to hiring people for her store, and I even asked her then, that she manages the corner shop, and don't worry about it. The light died.
Issues. It's fine. But yeah, I like how she said, so she manages it, and she's like, my kids work for me, or I think she said she used to be a cheerleading coach, or girls that she had cheer for her starting at age 14. I guess you can work down there, and she's been working with these same girls for years and years and years, and she's like, these girls at 14 are trained so good, and
Yeah.
they've been working for
And
her
I
for
think all of
years.
those girls are her kids.
A lot of them
What I
are.
mean, no, what I mean
Oh
is,
yeah, they're all
even if
her
they're not her
kids.
biological kids, they're all her kids.
Yes.
She is like you can tell she's like a mama bear,
Yeah.
a mama hen or a
Oh
mama bear,
yeah.
both.
Both.
She's protective of her girls, and she's trying to raise them right, teach them right, and she had a big heart, clearly.
Yeah.
Especially for the young kids,
Mm-hmm.
because I think she'd adopted so many too, and I don't. Yeah, I'd say more, but I don't want to. I don't want to invade her privacy too much.
Yes.
But a lot of kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so she obviously has a big heart and was taking care of a lot.
And needed a big house.
And needed a big house, and she got a God deal on that millionaire house.
Mm-hmm.
She was blessed, and God blessed her because
she was meant to have that
she
house.
was meant to have it. So, yeah. Yeah, the point is just everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It could be awkward. They just had an election there. I don't know if that was awkward or not.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was. The mayor election,
Yeah.
But fun stuff. And then I did ask the mayor, though. I said something about that, and he was like, occasionally I'll see somebody like I've never met. That's crazy.
That is
crazy.
crazy.
That person living under a rock or something? Because I felt like we were just walking the town and we would see people drive by. I saw after we were done with Dennis, we saw him drive by, and I'm like, "There's Dennis." It's like I was only there for 2 days, and I already know. I feel like I already know the town. And I'd see somebody drive by, and I'd be like, "I know who that is," But yeah, fun stuff. Very fun. That brings us to point number 10. We started with it. What is the town called?
This is the heated debate amongst its own people. So
we said on our podcast, episode 3, we were just reading off the internet. We'd never been here. We had no idea. So we read it literally, Bramwell.
And we were like, and so after that, I think we were watching other YouTube people going through and visiting town. They were saying Bramwell. And I'm like, we are freaking idiots. We did a whole podcast saying Bramwell, and it's clearly Bramwell.
Yeah.
But when we got down there, we heard people calling it Bramwell. Leisha calls it Bramwell. Betty was calling it Bramwell, so I was like, okay.
So we're we're like local people call it Bramwell.
So when I got really confused is when we went into the Thompson house, the one that was up on the hill.
Yeah.
When we went there, the owner of that one, I heard him say Bramwell, and I was like, he's been here since like the 80s,
what was
I
his
think.
Name?
Michael Shahan. And his wife Jackie, who is a famous lady, I believe, in that area.
We heard her name a lot.
We heard her name a lot.
We heard a lot.
So many people said,
"Did
you see Jackie yet? Did you talk to Jackie?" But she wasn't there. But we met her husband, who was a wonderful man.
Her husband? Michael was there.
And he was playing the piano when we got there. I said, "How classy!"
Yeah, and he was a surgeon. So we thought maybe he was just
a radiologist.
Yeah. So we're like, maybe he was just fancy, and that's why he says Bramwell.
That's how he was saying Bramwell.
So we kind of slid it under the rug.
Wait a second.
He's saying Bramwell, but I
kept it in my head.
Yeah.
And then we went to dinner and we were talking. I think, no, it wasn't dinner. It was the next day at lunch. I think I heard Grant say Bramwell, and Dennis was saying Bramwell. And I was like, wait.
We went in for breakfast. And he said Bramwell.
And I was like, what? I was like, how do you say it? Yeah, I asked Grant first. I was like, how do you say it? And he said, it's Bramwell. And I'm like, okay, a lot of people are saying Bramwell. He said, yeah, they'll say it, but it's Bramwell. And I was like, okay. And then we went to lunch, and Dennis was there.
Dennis was very passionate about it, and he was fired up.
We won't get into everything he was saying.
He said that he had fact checked because the town was obviously named from someone, Bramwell, originally.
They said he is like the fact checker.
So he called. Oh yeah, they said he's the Chat GPT.
Yeah.
So he called the descendant.
Yeah.
I think this was like 5th generation descendant of Bramwell who lives in New York now. And he said, "How do you pronounce your name?"
He's like, I have one question only. How do you say your name?
How did your dad say it? How did your granddad say it? And each time it was Bramwell. So he
Bramwell.
He said, "There you go.
Yeah.
Mystery solved. It's Bramwell." But as you'll see in our interview with Betty, she says Bramwell. And she said the reason why is because she acknowledges the guy's name was Bramwell. Sure.
It goes with their dialect,
but
how they talk.
With the accent and dialect over time, it became
Bramwell.
Bramwell. She said it was like the town Coopers as well. It was named after Cooper. But people would say like Coopers. We're going up to Cooper's post office, Cooper's store. So it became Coopers. So over time, even if it's off of somebody's name with dialect and just kind of saying it fast and shorthand, things kind of change.
Yeah.
So she said that is how you identify true locals versus tourists. If someone says Bramwell, they're legit. They've been here the whole time. Somebody comes in and says Bramwell, and you're like, you haven't been here that long, have you? You may have been here like 4 or 5 years, maybe 10 years, but you haven't been here your whole life.
Yeah.
So I guess so we're outsiders, so we would say Bramwell.
And so that means we were right on our podcast, and I take back us calling us idiots.
But if you're a true resident, well, we can't say
we
that.
Can't say that. The mayor himself.
Yeah, you're right.
People from like Michael, who has been there since the 80s, calls it Bramwell.
Okay. All right. So I guess it's both.
You can call it whatever you want.
Oh, this reminds me. So this was one of the funniest parts. So we were having lunch, I felt like, with about half the town.
Our ATV buddies.
Our ATV buddies.
And Dennis.
Yeah. And Moose.
And his wife.
He had the joke that killed me. He said, I don't even remember the context exactly what we were talking about, but he basically said, oh, it doesn't matter. We don't even know how to say our town name anyway. And I thought that was really the cherry on top of the ice cream.
We live in a town where no one knows its name.
That's funny. Because that was something we wanted to solve. We're going to figure it out. And we never did.
We still
don't know. We never will. No one will ever know.
If anybody wants us, there's two people who definitely want it one way. Dennis 100% wants it Bramwell. Betty 100% wants it Bramwell. So those
We're
two,
not going to get involved.
We need to have them debated, I guess.
We won't get involved.
No, I want to say that. Not our town, not our problem.
That's a local thing. Yeah. But yeah, just a heads up if you go there. I mean, if you say Bramwell, they're probably gonna notice that you're not from there, but maybe you didn't really earn the right to say Bramwell either. You know,
maybe you really got to earn that. I don't know.
You got to earn it because you're not there. You know, you're not from there. Anyway, the whole thing was surreal. Felt like a dream in a good way. Mm-hmm. Everybody was so nice. We had such a good time. It still doesn't feel like a real town. We're setting out to see if this is a real town. Mm-hmm. It still almost felt like a fake town. That's not the right word. Like a fantasy
setup. Yeah, kind of like a. I want to say. Oh, what's that show that your dad watches a lot?
Like Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, because even on the outskirts, it still felt like kind of normal West Virginia. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of come into the town and you're like, what's this magic little place?
Yeah.
Well, you almost don't even want to talk about it because even Betty said one of our gifts may be that a lot of people don't know about it. Because it's like if you tell too many people, they might show up and ruin it.
Yeah.
But
if this doesn't sound interesting, like what we're talking about, you have to go there and then you will understand why this was a very exciting experience for us.
Yeah.
It is very cool. And I think if you're from West Virginia anywhere, you should go see it. Like it's worth seeing. There's things for you to do there. ATV riding, like the Honeycomb Cafe. That's like an iconic place. The corner shop. It's an iconic place. Corner shop. There are things to do.
Honey Shop Cafe. I got a pepperoni roll. Honeycomb. I got a pepperoni roll to go.
Yes.
And I didn't eat it there. I took it to go and I ate it this week during work. And it was amazing.
It was really good.
Because, pepperoni rolls came out of Clarksburg. I got to give a shout out to one of our most loyal listeners, Grant from Clarksburg.
Yes.
So he knows all about pepperoni rolls.
Yeah, so Grant, you need to
He's a rolly like me.
A rolly.
A rolly. That's what we're going to start calling ourselves, a rolly. And he is our pepperoni roll model.
All right. So Grant, give us at least your top 3 pepperoni rolls.
Yeah. But this one would hang with Clarksburg pepperoni rolls. It was that good. Absolutely. It was a good pepperoni roll. It was really good pepperoni. I was like, if I knew it was this good, I would have bought a few more to take home.
That was from the Honeycomb. Yeah. You had another one from the corner shop.
I had the corner shop. So there's different types of pepperoni rolls. I don't want to get way off topic here, but there's, the one I got at the corner shop was a deep fried. There's kind of more like the restaurant style, like a deep fried, or like you would get from a pizza shop. And then there's kind of the ones you would put in a Ziploc bag and take with you.
Like an original coal mining.
So the Honeycomb one was more of that type.
Yeah.
So I took it with me to work and pulled it out of like a Ziploc bag and ate it.
Yeah.
The one I had at corner shop was one you would eat on site at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it's, here you go. We just made this.
Like it's a meal. Like an actual meal.
Yeah. So they're kind of different. They're hard to compare. They're really two different things almost.
They are.
Both pepperoni rolls, but you can't compare them. So I'm not gonna.
Okay.
But if you're a rolly, you need to go check it out. Okay. A rolly like us. What else? Anything else? That was the 10. That was the 10 surprising things.
What was your, just name a favorite memory? Because I don't know if you have
favorite memory.
One
That's
favorite
tough
memory.
Because it was so good. And Alicia, she drove us around Pocahontas, Virginia as well, and kind of took us and drove us around and talked about the houses. Visiting the houses was pretty cool. We didn't even really get to talk about Don and Pam that was in the Collins house. they were really interesting to meet. Don wrote a children's book that won an award.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm
And
trying to
it's
remember.
at the
It's
Honeycomb
the
Cafe.
coins. It's
Yeah.
about the coin. Yeah, and I want to talk about it, and my mind is escaping me.
Mhm.
But I really like Don.
We can
I feel
insert
like
a
if I lived
picture.
in the area, I mean, Don would be like my
He was
church group,
so
and we would be buddies for
nice.
sure.
And Pam was very sweet too.
Very
He was
sweet too.
very outgoing.
Yeah, and she offered us, you know, snacks and stuff while we were
Yes,
there.
she
So sweet.
did.
So
Very good
maybe my favorite
host.
memory was them, and our time was cut short with them because we had to go do an interview.
And I liked how he was very considerate of time. Like
Yeah.
he kept us going. He's like, they got somewhere to be at 12. I'm
Yeah.
like, you really got our back.
Yeah. But so that one was one of my favorites. Just being with Leisha in
Yeah.
general, she was an amazing
Mm-hmm.
host, if you want to, I guess you would say.
Mhm.
But she arranged everything for us, where we
Mhm.
stayed,
Oh my
where we ate,
gosh. We would have been lost.
who we met, everybody we met, interviewing Betty. She made that happen.
Yeah.
So Leisha,
When we were going to meet, whenever we went to the corner shop, she had a table reserved for us, like for the whole day until we were ready to go there. And she just kept talking about Mandy, and I didn't know. I was like, I don't know, we're meeting a Mandy. And when we went in, we are like, hey, I think we have a table. And they're like, oh, you're with Mandy. I was like, I don't know who Mandy is. And then this pretty woman comes out wearing a cherry dress.
50 style.
It's a 50s style corner shop. She comes wearing a dress with red lipstick, and she sits with us, and she's like, well, who are you? Just talking like that. And I'm like, oh, you're Mandy. And it just turns out she's the manager. She owns the Blue Lady. I really liked her.
You guys
Mandy,
were
we
instantly
could have been
best
best friends.
Yeah.
She was so cute.
Right.
I just couldn't. I was like, you are so freaking cute.
And that was the whole style of the restaurant.
That was probably one of my favorite memories, like meeting her and just talking to her, because it was like I said, she was like the spice of the town. Like everyone was just so sweet and humble, and then there's just like this little Spitfire lady that we haven't met yet.
Yeah.
Like that one person in the town, you know.
Oh, and the condo was amazing. We barely talked about that.
Oh yeah.
You'll have to watch the companion travel vlog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have one on the town, and then we'll have one on the ATV ride separately, and then we have an interview with Betty. So this is kind of really a series. This is like part 1 of 4.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to watch all 4.
Yeah.
If you love this one.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have.
I hope you did. I'll cry if not. Hey. I want to give these books away. Remind them.
Yeah, that's right. One more time. What do you got to do?
One more time.
What do you got to do?
You have to share this video.
Comment.
I have to be a subscriber. Comment below with 5 people you would love to live in that community with.
Tag them.
Tag them.
Not just like their name. You got to tag them so they see it.
Tag them. And these books are $25, and we would love to give them away because I believe they deserve to be seen.
Yes, absolutely.
From all over West Virginia.
Well, guys, we are really having fun with this podcast and visiting West Virginia. We got to do a little bit of traveling, extra traveling because of that, you know, through different counties. And we made a few stops here and there for the West Virginia Minute, a new segment we're doing. But we're having a lot of fun. It takes a good bit of time. We have 4 kids. You know,
it takes a lot of time.
Takes a lot of time, but we're having fun. But if you'd like to support us in a way that's completely free for you, all we're asking is to share and like it. You know, no cost to you. Share it with your friends, especially if they love West Virginia, because we love West Virginia. People kept asking us down there, you know, what are you doing here? What is your purpose? What is your goal? And it's clear to us, you know, we want to make it clear to everybody. Our goal is to love West Virginia. We call this a love letter. This podcast is a love letter to West Virginia. It's a love letter to the places. It's a love letter to the people. That's what we want it to be. Yeah. So that's what we got to do this weekend. It was a magical weekend for us because we got to do what we love. We got to see an amazing place. We got to be around amazing people in the state that we love so much, West Virginia.
Yeah.
So it was everything we could dream of. I'm very humbled that we were treated so kindly in Bramwell, and all the people we got to meet were so kind to us. It was a humbling experience.
Yeah.
I hope I get to see those people again, hang out again.
I know.
You know, and Chuck's from Florida, and he gave us his cards because we love Florida too. We like to go on vacation in Florida.
Place.
So we're gonna have to go meet Chuck down there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hopefully, Larry and his wife, they were talking about coming up in Morgantown, so they can come hang out with us if they want to. Yeah. When they come up, we'll show them Cooper's Rock.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, I'm getting off topic a little bit. I just want to say my heart was touched.
Yes.
We got to do what we love. And if you love West Virginia, if you know people who love West Virginia as much as we do, share it with them and get the word out there for us. All right. That's all I've got.
Okay. Me too.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.